Build it. Welcome to the Synced Up podcast, where we talk tech, digital media, and all things business. But not today. Today, we're talking about what we've been up to in the last week. So, Matthew, would you like to fill us in?
Well, this podcast is going to be all about Hyrox. We're going to recap because we obviously raced over the weekend. So there won't be any business section of talk this week. So now is your chance to opt out if you don't want to just hear us rattle on about racing. And I'll probably start us off with what the Hyrox format is for anyone that's unfamiliar. So it is going to be completely off business topic. This will be abnormal because we're going to be as of next week, we'll be back on discussing business topics and that sort of thing. I've already got some ideas for next week's topic. I'll run it by Josh after.
Ooh, lovely. Okay.
But we'll have to address what you've just done.
Yeah.
So we will wind back to Hyrox in a minute because I arrived at the studio about an hour ago or so. I've done a bit of work, and Josh comes in dripping.
With sweat.
Yes, yeah. Because he'd just gone out and done a 5K max effort run. And we've done this on purpose. I sort of suggested he does it because it means we can set up a new running plan. We will know his paces. I didn't expect him to quite do it today, but you fully sent it. Do you want to tell us how it went?
It was probably is the most painful experience I've ever had.
I've seen Josh in pain a few times now.
Yeah, it's just prolonged pain. I think it's not just like one moment, it's 20 minutes of.
Yeah. So you might as well announce what was your official time?
Official time was 20 minutes, 22 seconds, which I was like, I was just trying to get under 20, but
sub 20.
It will happen soon.
Sub 20 will happen for you, but it is a very... The 21 or 22 minutes down to 20 is a big jump, and
Yeah.
it's a hard one. But yeah, incredible effort.
I'm very happy,
especially like 4 or 5 days after a Hyrox as well.
Yeah.
I'm impressed that you were able to go there, but you should have seen Josh went out so fast. His pace chart, when you look at like his splits for the kilometers, his pace chart, he starts at like 3:53. So to get a 20-minute 5K, you need to average 4 minutes per kilometer. Apologies for those who work in miles. But you started at 3:52, 3:53 or something like that, and then a 4:01, I think, or a 4:04, and just Josh's pace fell off a cliff, and he hit a hill at the end as well. Impressive work, but wow. I can honestly say, after doing, I've raced marathons, I've done Hyroxes, I've done, and obviously 5Ks and half marathons and stuff. 5K is the worst and most painful distance.
Probably that might give you some information.
You need to take it closer to the camera.
I know, trouble is it'll get out of focus, so we'll try it. But hey, maybe
if you can see that, it's a story of.
Let's get the heart rate of hell.
But I am going to do one soon as well, so we'll probably recap that at some point. I mean,
I'm looking forward to seeing what the stats are on that as well.
I'm scared. I'm genuinely more scared about doing a 5K max effort than a Hyrox or a marathon. Anyway, well done.
Thank you.
But before this week, sort of within this week, obviously it was race week for us. We've been building up to it a little. We've been building up to it a little bit in the last few weeks on the podcast. It happened. We will go over our time in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I think a good start is to introduce to people what Hyrox is. Obviously, some of you might know already or have done a race. But Josh, try and give us a rundown of what a Hyrox is.
Well, the way I describe it to people is it's circuits really but with very specific, like the exercises don't change. It's a very specific format. The locations and the layout might change slightly, but you're more or less doing the same race in different places. So you're doing 8 kilometers altogether, and then in between each kilometer or after each kilometer, you've then got various different exercises. So you've got a skier, you've got a rower, you've got warbles, which you might have to look those up. I didn't know what they were. But yeah, it's quite a leg heavy sort of endurance. What do you call it?
Endurance fitness
race.
race.
Yeah. And you are what I really like about it, I think you've mentioned it in previous podcasts, is the I love the format of it where it's not like a half marathon or a marathon where you just get all released at the same time and then it's just all chaos for the whole thing. It's you get released in waves. So you're sort of like a small cluster and then you go in and you're sort of, I suppose you're racing your wave to a point, but once you get about sort of the third run in, you've lost, like, the wave is all split and it's all spread out
You don't know
because
who's who, and you're just
no,
surrounded because most Hyroxes, I'll say most because there's like one that did an outdoor one.
really,
Yeah, but
where
let's
was
say
that?
I don't remember. It's Spain or something. I can't remember.
That's
But
pretty
let's
cool.
say 99% of Hyroxes are indoors. They're usually at some kind of arena or stadium. So there's never really ever any weather or heat concerns or anything like that. Obviously, in
Mm,
running, one of the biggest challenges you have is you're dealing with the climate, right?
yeah.
Heat, rain, wind, whatever. Whereas Hyroxes are always 99% of the time indoors. Um, you did a great explanation. There's a standard format. You're going to do the stations in a set order. It's the same order every time. I'll run through it in a sec. And it's effectively a time trial. You're trying to complete it as quick as you can.
Mm,
But every Hyrox weekend that they do, there's thousands of runners. There was a stat up on because it was at the London Excel we did it at. I think
yeah.
there was like 22,000 runners.
Really? Oh my
Well, I said
god.
runners, but Hyroxers that
Is that
competed.
across all the days?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So it ran from like Thursday to Sunday.
Yeah.
But obviously that's 22,000 people taking part. You've also then got all the spectators that
Mm,
brings, people come to watch. So at any point over the weekend, it is chaotic to
yeah.
walk around and be in. It's a great spectator sport because you get to see them out on the running track. You then get to follow them as they progress through the stations. I'll run
Mm,
through what the stations are as well because we've never really explained it on here. Obviously, you can Google it, but you got the ski erg as station one. So you will start in a little start tunnel, if you will,
yeah.
a Red Bull sponsored start tunnel. It's always the same. They play a cool video, count you down, got this big epic like climactic finish to this video to set you off. The smoke billows out when it every
Yeah.
time they do it, release you. But you start with a run and then you do 8 times 1K with the 8 stations in sort of after each run. And so you finish on the final station. They are ski erg to start, and the challenge is to not go and absolutely smash yourself on the ski erg because you've got to run next. You've then got sled push. Sorry, in the ski erg you have to do 1,000 meters.
Skiing is quite cheeky as well because that's that, like you said, and I'd never done one before. I was really training for Hyrox, but it really like pushes your heart rate up.
Oh yeah,
If you go mad on it,
oh yeah.
you set yourself up for the most painful experience of your life.
A lot of people go out way too hot, myself included, by the way, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, so then you've got the sled push, and it's 50 meters, and the weight for men's open is 150 kilos on
Mm,
sled. You've then got the sled pull, which is you have to pull it 50 meters.
yeah,
You've then got, which I think is a
the
100
world's
kilos.
most clumsy rope.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't
It's like,
do.
if you can imagine, it's on a 12.5 meter stretch, and you've got like a meter and a half box to operate within on the pull. That you've got to pull it one side, run to the other, pull it the other side. You've got to do 4 lengths on both the push and the pull. Burpees, I think it's 80 meters.
Okay,
So
okay.
I
Thought
always
it was
get
100
confused
then.
between the lunges and the burpee broad jumps, whether it's 80 or 100. I think it's 80. I'm going to go for that. Where you just basically got to do a burpee and do a 2-footed jump and then burpee and travel in that way, which is quite funny to watch. I mean, it's where most people's souls break in a high rocks
Yeah.
race. Um, and you got 80 meters. Usually you go up and then you go turn a corner and go back down, and then you can go out.
Mm,
You've then got the rower, which is usually the station, especially if you're doing a doubles where you get the most rest or a recovery opportunity. Even in a singles, you can kind of slow it down a bit and try and get your heart rate under control. It doesn't always work.
I suppose we should specify a little bit on doubles where so you both will run 8 kilometers,
Yes, you
but
run
then
together.
yeah, but then at the stations you
You
can
can
share out the load.
Yeah,
So
you
one
split
of
it.
you
You
does it.
split the stations however you want. So I could have done all the ski
Yeah,
while you caught your breath.
yeah.
But it's more of it. You have to kind of manage it amongst yourselves who's dying the most.
Yeah.
To try and compensate. So you've got 1,000 meter row. You've then got a farmer's carry, which is 200 meters, where basically 24 kilogram kettlebells for our category. 200 meters. Just in our case, we absolutely bolted it with them.
Well, you did.
Yeah. Then you've got the lunges, which are sandbag lunges. You've got a sandbag on your back. It's 20 kilos for us, and you've got to basically lunge. Your knees got to hit the floor as you're walking with it,
And you cannot drop the bag.
and you cannot drop the bag, or it's instant disqualification. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you can pass it amongst yourselves, but you can't drop it.
Yeah. We did see
That's
somebody
the
drop the
100
bag.
meters, I think. And then your final one is the wall balls, which 100 wall balls with a 6 kilogram wall ball, which is a horrible finisher after a long race with a lot of running. So there's the format. And yes, in singles you do everything yourself. In doubles, you both have to run together, and you have to start the stations together. So it's not like one of you can run off and go and start the station, the other catches up. You've got to enter the station at the same time. So it makes sense to stay together, obviously, on the run. I've had it before where I've accidentally gapped somebody that I was running with, and then got to the station. I've just had to wait and just stand still and wait for them to get there, because if you try and start it, you can get disqualified. But yeah, I can honestly say, after I've done both now, because before the weekend I hadn't done a singles.
Yeah.
I'd only ever done doubles and relay, and yeah, the singles is a different kettle of fish. It was a hard effort.
Was there a point in your singles where you were like, I have pushed this too far, or what point was that?
Sled pull.
Wow. Okay. So
It-
third exercise in.
Third, after the sled push, my legs felt really heavy. They usually do. You build up lactic acid on the sled push, but it does clear. But I think I pushed it too hard on the first couple of stations and the first couple of runs, and then I got to the sled and it felt heavy, like much heavier than normal, and that's where I knew. That's where I knew it was
messed up.
This is a long race. The burpees as well. Wow, the burpee broad jumps. Yeah. So in my singles, I went out at probably sub-hour pace. So
Yeah.
and I finished in a 107.
Yeah, which is still really good for a singles first attempt, isn't it? Like,
I think if I'd have raced better, let's say smarter, I probably had like a 103, 104 in me on the day. I think if I'd have, held a bit more back at the start and then and just paced it better.
It's hard to gauge though, because you didn't do a single sim, did you?
No.
Because you only did the sims with me, so
Yeah.
that's sort
That
of
was
like,
my
you didn't
first
really-
experience of it, and it was a long one.
a long one. Yeah, it's a long hour if you don't do it well.
So both of my races were first wave 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So they just set up, and you experienced this. We were the first. You got to come and see the event beforehand. You arrived on Saturday, like late afternoon or early afternoon, when we both went over and had a look at the venue, and you could see how busy it was with loads of people running. And then you get there at early doors at 8 a.m. and we're the first wave. It was
a bit strange in a way, because it hadn't gotten busy at that point. Because obviously, like, your later athletes probably still traveling up, but because if you were running at 11, say, you could travel up that morning.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of people probably hadn't arrived yet, so it was quite quiet in comparison.
I should say as well, they release a wave every 10 minutes.
Yes.
So, because we were 8 o'clock, the next wave is 8:10, then 8:20, and so forth. So it just gets busier the further in you get.
Yeah.
But
there was a one while where we were running and we were just like alone, and it was such a bizarre feeling.
we tried something new, didn't we?
Yeah.
I say it would have been new either way for you, but it was new for me. We at the start gate, at the sort of the releasing tunnel, we didn't go out straight away.
No.
Because they only start your time from when you pass because you got a chip on your ankle. They only count your start time when you pass the start line, a bit like in a marathon or an organized race. So we let everybody go off,
Yeah.
and then counted to like 15 seconds, and then went.
Yeah.
So everybody had bolted out the start tunnel, and then there's me and you, and then I think 2 other pairs held back as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we were running around the track, it was like a ghost town.
It was
It was
really
so
strange.
surreal because I'm used to having to weave in and around people and racing people that you're
Yeah.
in there and trying to pick if you're going to overtake people. Are they running too slow, or are they run? Do I try and cling on to them? But it was very much me and you just chilling,
Just
by
on our own.
ourselves. And we were the last people on the ski erg, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I think so, yeah.
It was it was such a weird experience. But
once once you're 20 minutes in, it's quite busy. And
yeah,
when we
well, other waves
finished,
are getting released at that point. So then you're in the muddle of, were they in our wave? Were they not? It doesn't matter at that point. You're just in the race yourself, aren't you? And
Yeah.
technically, you can try and obviously compete and beat people. But I think for anyone that's ever experienced a Hyrox have done it, usually you're racing yourself,
Yeah.
right? You're just going for trying to run your own race, and that's probably the best advice you can give anyone anyway.
Yeah, yeah, because like you say, it's when you cross that line, and the same the other end. It's like it's your time. It's same as a marathon or anything, isn't it? You are sort of racing people there, but say if you started at the back of the pack for whatever reason, but you got a faster time than the person who still finished ahead of you, you still beat them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
The whole thing of a gun time versus chip time, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So Josh, you asked me when I felt the pain in my race. When did you start to have a realization that this is hurting?
I think well, probably was around the same. I think that sled pull, because we had the rope got sort of caught on the sled as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just remembered something else which I'll bring up in a second.
Okay.
But yeah, the sled pull, I don't like it anyway. Not I wouldn't say I don't find it hard. I just find it clumsy. I'm really clumsy with like the rope, and I'm just like, what am I doing with this? And then I'm like falling over it all the time.
It is one of the most clumsy stations because you're suddenly pulling all this rope towards you, and then the only place it can really go is down by your feet. You
Yeah.
can't throw it in someone else's, because people are sled pulling left of you, right of you. So you can't exactly just throw it in their area because you're not allowed to do that. So it's kind of got to go by your feet. And then everyone's just stumbling over it.
Yeah, it's a bit bad. So yeah, I did, like I think you said when we were training for it, you were like, you need to manage the rope. You have to manage the rope.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say I managed the rope very well at all.
I think you, on the third run, you'd started to hint that you were feeling it. And I did.
Yeah.
Did I do a full length of sled pull to start us off, and then we did halves from there?
I think so, yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll try to give you a bit of extra rest, and I did the full length. Then we just did halves from that point, because at least that gave you a few seconds to kind of recover a little bit.
Yeah, because so there's a few moments where in the sled push,
Oh yeah,
obviously I did a full length, and I hadn't intended to.
We'd agreed to do half lengths.
And that was fine. I was just expecting you to be like done. Like,
and I just to clarify, I did shout done, stop a couple of times, and you didn't.
So I was like, you know what? I've done like 2/3 of it now. I might as well just get it done. And then you just turned to me and were like, don't do that again.
I'm aware what it can do to your legs, so I was like, just don't do this. We don't want to go here.
In the burpees, like we're obviously doing a certain amount, and again, I'm just waiting until you're like you're done, finish, or you say do 5 more, and I'll do 5 more. I'm just going on like your commands. You were like, good, that's the last one. And I technically they finish when you've jumped.
You jumped and landed. That's the finish point.
To me, they finish when you do the press up. So I jumped and I go to do the press up, and I just feel Matt trying to like be like, no, and like pull me up again. Mid race, Matt's like, get up. Just stop lying on the floor.
At that point, I should have just said jump.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But it's obviously in the moment you're trying to keep the speed up.
Just being like manhandled while lying on the floor.
We did burpees pretty quick, I think. I haven't really looked through what our splits were. Should we announce the time now? or do
Yeah,
we
let's.
carry on going through the race? And
Oh wait, no, okay, yeah, let's carry on through the race because I feel
okay,
like for me there weren't obviously the rower best recovery ever.
yeah. So with the row, we decided to just split 500 meters each. So you started because then it gives you the biggest rest before the next run. That's the idea.
Yeah,
Usually, if the stronger runner finishes the stations, so they go straight from station to run, and you allow the not so strong runner to kind of recover that little bit before their run. So that was the plan. So you came off the run straight into the row.
yeah,
You'd said all along you're quite comfortable with rowing anyway. It's not a station
yeah.
you were worried about.
Hmm.
Um, I think I gave you the tap around four. I
I think it
think
was 420 or like I think I
my
got to
sister-in-law
450 or something.
shouted something like, "You should be doing more" to me because I looked too happy. I think because I was smiling and having the best day of
Well,
my
yeah,
life.
the running pace for you is like, didn't you say it was like zone 2 at one
I
point
was
for
my
you?
heart rate was about 150 for the
Just
first 3 or 4
slow.
runs. Yeah. So whereas I'd be running at like 4 minutes per kilometer, we were running like 4:45.
Yeah.
So I was happy. So anyway, Becky shouted over to me, "You look far too happy" or something. And I said, I went, "Fair enough. Josh, get off now. Get off." Like I think about 4:20, 4:50 something. So I did I jumped in and yeah. Then you got the full almost 2-minute rest
Yeah.
because I could have just rode harder, but I thought no, I'll do a steady pace to give because it gives you that few more seconds to bring the heart rate down. It's probably the
Yeah.
only opportunity in the whole race where you get to properly recover, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
We're coming up to a funny moment now as well
Yeah.
because whereas the row is the longest rest station, the farmer's carry is the
The
shortest
no rest for me.
because you can
Carried on
you
at
can,
440 pace.
grab those kettlebells and run with them. And I said to Josh on the run, so he had discussed it before. Are you okay for me to send it on the farmer's carry? And
Yeah.
Josh, you
Just
said, yeah,
yeah.
go for it, whatever. So I picked up those kettlebells and ran as fast as I could with them.
I'm pretty sure I didn't change pace from the run. You just
Yeah.
picked up the kettlebells. We carried on at the same pace.
To put it into context, our farmers carry because I think when you grabbed them, you went at like a medium.
I went at a sensible pace.
Yeah, you went
Because I
sensible because
needed to be.
we didn't want to completely bury you at that point. You still had
Yeah.
more running to do, right? But our carry was 1:11, 1 minute 11
Yeah.
seconds, right? We were really top end of the.
Yeah.
I think we were 16th overall of the how many
Yeah,
thousand
that's
people
right.
did it, right?
It's
And I
just-
think next time we do one,
I would love to. I want to send
I
it
think
as
we
well.
just send it and we try and get number one on the farmers carry. Even if it ruins the rest of our race, we
Yeah.
won the carry.
Yeah, I want to do that.
And the rest of the race was really about just survival. Obviously, we then had the lunges. You got your second wind, I think, on the. You started to pick the pace up again. I think in
Mhm.
the 7th run, possibly.
Yeah,
You started to
Yeah.
look strong again.
yeah, that sounds about right.
And we did the lunges. I think I tried to do a little bit more just to give you a bit more recovery if I could,
Mm.
knowing that we were really close to the end. And then the 8th run, you started to look happy.
Yeah,
You started to look good and were smiling a bit.
yeah, it was really strange, but I did say that before, didn't I? I think I I reach my sort of like my threshold and then I struggle for a bit, but the second wind I get is like I've completely reset. So I think that rower
Yeah,
did it for me.
I've had it a couple of times where that second win comes and you feel good at the end. And
Mm.
then the warbles, relatively uneventful in the way
Yeah,
we just blasted them out.
got him done.
Yeah. Yeah, I have had it before. I've accidentally thrown the warble over the target and then it's landed on my partner's head,
Well,
which is 6 kilo ball when it's been thrown because the target's 10 feet high for the men's.
yeah.
So it must have gone 11 feet to go over it to then land on your head was quite a donk. It was Kieran, right? So, it woke him up.
But then, yeah, the wall wars is funny as well because there's so many like there's so many possibilities of getting penalties in Hyrox,
Yes.
and obviously I'd done a lot of like simulations where we don't necessarily have like the boxes and the squares, and it's like I in my head it was we always sort of stand behind your partner. So we got to wall balls and I've stood behind you and the woman's like, get in the box, get in the box. I'm like,
In front.
where is it? Where is it? And I'm like looking around and I'm like, everyone else has stood there. Okay, quick. And I was like, it was that moment of panic, like, but where is the box?
You might have been the only penalty on wall balls in history, because normally they'll just no rep you if you do it wrong. If you
Yeah.
miss the target or if you don't squat low enough, they'll just no rep it.
Yeah.
So you don't normally get like a time penalty on wall balls. If you hadn't have moved, you might have got one.
I know. It was that panic of like, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean.
I didn't know what time we were on for, because I didn't really look at my watch throughout the race. I was too busy. I was chatting to a couple of people. I was like making sure you were okay and trying to talk to you about what was coming up and strategizing a little bit. I think I clocked somebody's time. We were about halfway through the wall balls, and I heard somebody come in under the hour.
Yeah.
And I was just around the hour mark.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew at that point, 50 wall balls, a couple of minutes. I knew we were kind of like
Yeah.
on for a relatively good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what time did we get? Do you remember?
It was 1 hour, 2 minutes and 56 seconds, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was good.
So we wanted the sub 105.
Yeah.
David dropped the gauntlet and challenged us to beat mine and Dave's time, which is 104.44, I think. It was a fast course.
Yeah.
Because it was a different layout than most, because it was a one lapper. Normally you have to do 2 or 3 laps and count them.
Yeah.
So, but I don't care. We
I
hit
think
102.56. We're in the 102s.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah, I'm mega happy with that time. That was for a first one. I was like, wow, okay, I didn't
So
expect that.
for me, it went from one of my most painful Hyrox experiences in the solo the day before
Yeah,
to 24 hours later, one of my best
yeah.
in terms of just a fun factor, happiness, and now you've done a completed Hyrox. You've had the full experience, the crowds, the all the stuff, obviously the stations, the race itself. You got your finishers patch. What? How would you summarize it? Or how would you explain it? Or how do you feel about it now that you've done a full one?
It it was epic. That's like the word I keep using to describe it whenever I talk to anyone about it. I think I'm excited just to do more because it's such a different format. Obviously, the only racing I'd done before that was a half marathon.
Yeah.
Or I've done 2 half marathons, and those feel amazing while you're doing them. But I think it's that like crowd energy. It's the same as that crowd you get at the finish line of the half or a full marathon, but it's throughout, and you've got like friends, family there, and they're like in front of you watching you. Like, yes, I just got to keep going, and like
The kids were there shouting us on. My kids were there shouting us on.
Yeah,
yeah. We had a few cheers when they saw us absolutely pelting it on the farmer's carriage as well. bit of the crowd got behind us, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of keep doing them, because they're just it's such a weird thing to pace, but it's so enjoyable once you've done it, depending on how the race has gone.
Yeah, but I think even though it's like you get that quite painful, you're in pain for a lot of it. When I think, I don't know, it might be different for different people, but I sort of finished and I felt like an hour later I could still do a good effort doing the same thing again. It doesn't absolutely kill you.
That's why I've started doing a couple of races over the same weekend. And I do feel a little bit bad for people that maybe don't get a ticket, and I've done 2 races.
Yeah.
So I do feel that pang of like, I'm a bit privileged that I'm able to race multiple times on every weekend if somebody is unable to race.
Yeah.
But you can recover quick enough that, because I do, especially with all the endurance stuff I do and the marathon stuff, but like my body is kind of like it can go again.
Yeah.
And I think we could. I'm really excited because we're doing another one.
Yeah. March.
So it's going to be a huge weekend in March because well, it's at Hyrox. It's in London Olympia.
Yeah.
And I think it's the weekend of the 28th and 29th of March.
Okay.
But obviously, it runs the Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I don't know if it runs from the Wednesday. Anyway, they're also doing the Hyrox Young Stars.
Yes. Yeah, you
So
did tell me about that.
my two kids are racing.
Yeah.
My
It's gonna be so
my
good.
niece is racing,
Okay. Yeah.
and my nephew.
Yeah.
So we've got there's quite a few people racing, quite a few of the kids
Yeah.
racing that on the Saturday and the Sunday.
So what do the kids have to do again? It
It
depends on the age, doesn't it?
Yeah, so there's like different age bands of like I think there's 8 to 9, 10 to 11, 12 to 13, and 14 to 15.
Mm.
And depending on what age group you're in, depends on what you have to do. So, for example, my Mal, my 10-year-old, who will be 11 at the time, he has to do one lap at the start, then go through the stations, which are modified, and one lap at the end.
Yeah.
So he's not doing 8 runs, it's 2. And then he's not, for example, he's not doing with the lunges,
Mm.
he's not got a sandbag,
Yeah.
he's just doing walking lunges.
Yeah.
And with a wall ball, he's not throwing it at a target, he's doing wall ball squats.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Whereas Ben, who is 12 and will be 12 at the time, he's got to do 2 laps at the start and 2 laps at the end. He's
Okay.
got to throw a 3-kilo wall ball at a target, but
Yeah.
the target's at like a modified height. I think it's 2.4 meters or something like that. I think he has a weight when he's doing the sandbag lunges and so forth. So
Yeah.
it scales based on age, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So not only are like a lot of people I know racing into like kids wise,
Mm.
we're racing on the Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm racing pro doubles on the Saturday.
Oh my god.
So I'm going to break myself and then race with you again.
Yeah.
I think, and a load of other people that I train with and know are racing that weekend as well. So
Yeah.
that's going to be a big one.
That's the other thing I really enjoyed about the whole event was because everyone goes at different times. You're not like when you go do a half marathon, you like people are you might start with people and then you'll all drift off paces and then that's it and then
Yeah,
you just see them at the end and it's sort of like you didn't really experience any of it with them other than the bit you stayed with them. Whereas when you're all running at different times, especially if you're not even in the same, you're not even in the same hour or hour and a bit like time category, you can finish your race and then you're like, great, right, those guys are starting in about 20 minutes, so I'll go recover and catch them at the start line.
Well, that's exactly what we did. We finished our race at, let's say, 9:02
Yeah.
or something. No,
Yeah.
just past 9. Then there were people racing, was it 9:30 or 9:40?
Yeah, it wasn't far after.
And then after,
But didn't some of the guys start while we were...
yeah, Kieran and Mike went off just at 8:40.
Yeah.
So they were almost done. So we got to watch them. And then I think Will and Ant were like, were they 10:30 or something like that?
Yeah.
So there was a bit of time. So then we got to watch them.
Yeah.
And just as that, because we followed them around the whole thing, at every station to cheer them on. And just as they finished, one of your customers were racing, weren't they?
Yeah.
So then we
so
almost
his
like
brother.
finished on the wall ball, so went straight back to the run in the ski erg again,
Yeah.
to then follow them through from 8 different stations. And then at that point we were like,
we spent too long here.
yeah, we spent too long, so we went back and had a chill. And then my wife was racing
Yeah.
at 6.
Yeah.
And it was her first one as well.
Yeah. So it's so awesome, yeah, because you're both the spectator and you're doing it, on the same day. So yeah, I mean, it depends if you go on your own or in a group, but yeah, I think
I think if you're in some sort of like affiliate gym or something, and or you just know other people that Hyrox and you link up with them and figure out what time they're racing. Part of the experience is going and watching somebody else race and cheering them on. It's so much fun, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just enjoyed all of it. I think it's such a cool way to spend your weekend.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to March. I think in terms of a time goal, we don't know yet. All you have to do really is keep improving at the running. The station work you can carry on training and maybe get marginally better at. But if you can shave 10 or 15 or 20 seconds off your running laps, immediately you're going to gain a couple of minutes. I know that's easier said than done.
Oh yeah,
but I think our aim should be to beat our time, even though Excel would be a quicker course. I still think we should try and beat it and have our eye on that hour.
Yeah, I think so. Like, why not? Why not? So
that was, I guess, the main, obviously the main segment of this podcast has been Hyrox and what's coming up, and there's other things that we've got coming up as well because we're going to race Berlin next year as well.
Yeah.
Marathon, which is going to be epic as well. I've got a Hyrox in Jan as well. Cheeky pro doubles.
Yeah, I didn't realize you did. Where's that one? Is that
One's in Manchester.
Yeah.
That's a cool one. I might give it a little nod in one of the future podcasts that I've done it or I'm doing it, but it's not as cool as me and you doing one. So I think it'll probably get a little mention, maybe not a focus point. So let's I guess finalize and go into some questions.
Yeah, sounds good.
Let's do it. So it's question time. In this section of the podcast, we ask a couple of questions. Obviously, you can email in podcast@sync-up.co.uk if you've got any questions you want to throw to me and Josh. Before then, I will also announce that if you're watching this podcast on YouTube, we also have it released on Spotify. And if you're listening to this podcast on Spotify, we also have the video version available on YouTube. So pick your poison, whichever format you'd rather. Listening is up to you. So should we go to Josh for the first question?
Yeah, okay. So staying on theme with Hyrox.
Yeah.
So if you had to pick, and you're only allowed to do one of these for the rest of your life, you have to pick between Hyrox or marathons.
Marathons.
Okay. Do you have any reasoning behind that?
I love running, and one of my biggest targets, as you know, is to run all the majors and tour the world with it. And Hyrox is really cool, but for me, my focus has always been running.
Yeah,
I say always been. I got back into running because of Hyrox,
okay,
and realized how much passion I had for it. And as cool as Hyrox is, I wouldn't give up running marathons.
Okay.
So
cool.
That was a nice straight one. Okay. We have got, I think we've got a business question each to come, if just in case anyone's wondering.
Yeah, hang in there.
But before then, Hyrox in Crocs or a marathon in 40-mile-an-hour winds?
I don't. Is everyone else in Crocs?
No, just you.
Or just me.
Just you in Crocs, mate.
Okay, I think I'd go for the marathon then, because
Booking,
I'd just be slow.
Just noting down, I'm booking Josh into Edinburgh Marathon in 2026. Because that's exactly what I faced. But I haven't run Hyrox in Crocs, and I don't want to.
No, Crocs are...
I've seen people run marathons in Crocs.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they run well?
No, some people do really well. I think there's some carbon plated Crocs been released. I don't know if it's a joke, but if any,
what are Crocs?
What are they? I do not own a pair. Do you?
No.
Good.
I don't see the point.
No.
They don't look good.
No.
They don't look good.
No. So you heard it here first, guys. We disapprove of not just wearing high Crocs, but people that wear them.
Yeah.
Right, come on then. Business me up, Josh.
All right. Okay. So what does success look like for you in 2026 in the business?
Oh. I think the obvious one is an increase in turnover.
Okay.
I think it'll naturally happen anyway. Some of our customers are growing and that sort of thing. But I would like to, if I was to, the way I will measure success is the team are happy. So Jamie, Izzy, Aaron, myself, the current team we're all happy and enjoying working for Laptop still. That's that's how I want it to remain. Maybe another member of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the office space becomes a thing in 2026. So if I was to actually measure success, I think the first one is I would like to see an increase in turnover. It doesn't need to be a huge one, and I think it'll naturally happen anyway. Maybe an onboarding of a few new customers. That would be great. But I think actually feeling like we've completed the year and we are still in a strong position with happy team members and obviously happy customers.
Yeah, so, fantastic. Yeah. Okay.
My question for you is interesting. If a customer is a pain,
Oh no.
but profitable.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Um. So if they're a good source of income, you've I feel like as long as they're not causing you to like lose sleep and come in stressed and really sort of ruining your life outside of work as well, I feel like you can put up with it to a point. But I feel like it's a there's a ratio, isn't there, of
Yeah.
like how annoyingly painful
Pain
are they?
profit.
Yeah, yeah.
The old pain profit radar.
and and like I mean I don't mind saying that we've had very difficult clients and we'll charge them more, and it's usually because they take more time because they're a pain. So we've actually charged people more, and if we're quoting, we know that they're going to be troublesome and ask for more changes and like they're going to take up more of our space, so we factor that in. And almost you almost do it in such a way that you don't want the work, but if they say yes and you've priced, then that's the price they're willing to pay, then you'll be happy anyway because the amount you're charging them covers the annoyingness of.
If they were enough of a pain, would you politely exit the arrangement?
Yes, yeah, I think we're so the why well all of us in the team, we do this because we love doing it. So when we have people who undo that, um yeah, it's the same as a relationship outside of work. You don't want to continue with something that just causes stress and pain. You want to have a nice life. So
I think
yeah.
there's different types of pain as well, isn't there? Because that could be, uh, and people listening have probably had different types of painful customers. I think one of the most annoying ones is bad payers.
Yeah, yeah.
Bad payers are,
Bad payers, drop them immediately
yeah.
because they're not going to be helpful in it. They are both annoying and they're not profitable.
Yeah.
So get them gone.
Yeah. Great answer. So that concludes this week's episode of the Synced Up podcast. I know it was something different. We will go back to our business centric format next week, and maybe we tighten down our catch up and do more businessy conversation next week to compensate. But I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It has been completely off the rails and all Hyrox race recap talk. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed it.